We've got the llama there for Vinchester, which he has slayed underneath the TC. And he is going for a barracks immediately as well. So we saw the civs. Even though a lot of players like to play the late game into Turks and Woo and bombard cannons and traction trebs, both Ciskhan and Vinchester are going to send it here, apparently, with the Japanese and the Incas, Ornlu.
Yeah, and that just very much seems to be a bit more common, I would say, in the meta on this map. Very early barracks, as you mentioned. Incas, one of those civs that you just have that early food discount, and you get the early wood savings on the houses. So you can see here, guys, that between your 200 starting wood, you can afford both the barracks and just one house gets you to 15 pop. You can take some stragglers, and then you can go for a very, very early drush.
Yeah, and that is something that Vinchester is very well known for. I don't think that is something that will surprise Ciskhan at all. Already bringing in a lot of his sheep underneath the TC. He spots the eagle. He knows that eagle is on the prowl. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the eco flows. For those that don't know Ciskhan, Ciskhan is a fantastic player with Arabia style, which these openings tend to play towards. The early archers, the early infantry, the clean builds. I think where Ciskhan struggles is more in the late game adaptations, the walls, the defensive measures. So this does play towards Ciskhan's strengths in some way in theory here.
That's a very polite way of saying that he's a hamster. He likes doing the hamster maps and strategies.
Some
yes,
people would call it a hamster. I have to be more professional than that, though. I do suppose. I guess I do call arena players clowns. So I guess I should even it out and call everyone else hamsters.
Yeah. No, but I do totally agree with you. I think his execution and his micro is actually very, very good.
Yeah.
And it can actually, I'd say, compete with Vinchester in those sorts of games. But what Vinchester is so good at is making a game a mess. He does it so well. He's done it for longer than I've been casting. And that is going to be something I think Ciskhan is going to try and make the game a bit more normal. So we'll see how we can do that.
I'll tell you what's not normal. Making the barracks as quickly as he did. Making one militia and then using the militia to walk around the back of your base to scout. It took him some time here. He's had that militia. I guess he wants to wait for the third. And so, yeah, now he'll have the full army moving forward. But Ciskhan hasn't been under any pressure yet. And with Ciskhan's build order, this is a bit more standard. You wait for the wood from the lumber camp, and then you build the barracks. So I think if Ciskhan sees this, and that's going to be the key here, he can always make his own militia to match and be just fine. But he hasn't seen it. He's only seen the eagle, and he just doesn't know.
Yeah, and this is really going to come down to just how fast is Ciskhan's reaction time, because it's a very heavy early investment here from Vinchester. Okay, Loom at least is coming in, so maybe his spidey senses are tingling because you don't normally get Loom at 16 pop if you don't expect anything too aggressive. So we'll have to see how well Ciskhan can react here. He even has a villager coming in on the correct side to see it. Oh,
yeah, Loom is huge. Without Loom, these are 2 villagers dead, but he's clearly not ready for this. And Vinchester still has that eagle to block. Ciskhan's doing his best. That seems like it's going to be 1 villager kill, and already...
Oh, no way.
Villager gets the quick wall down. Oh my god, and Ciskhan says, hello. I am ready for you. That's sick.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what did we just say? Ciskhan's early execution is very, very good. And that is the exact perfect... Actually, there you go. Deletion coming at the perfect time. The villager now has enough space to walk it back to the TC safely. That said, this is causing a lot of idle villager time. And you have to be very careful there. Okay, that's... Oh, no.
Yeah, this is still so worth it for Vinchester. It was a nice highlight there from Ciskhan and more highlights. But as you said, lots of inefficiencies in Ciskhan's eco. And the beauty of Vinchester is what he's actually able to do behind this. He's got a lumber camp with 4 on wood. He's going to the berries. He still has the sheep. So... many people can make the militia, and then their eco just falls apart, and they never reach Feudal Age. Vinchester, I would expect to be prepped to still reach Feudal Age at a good time, but Ciskhan is going to move forward now with his own militia, and unfortunately a very weak scout.
Yeah, that one is quite rough. That said, Vinch does not have Loom, and because he made the 3 militia and hasn't gathered the 10 gold yet, he cannot get Loom.
Ooh.
And... he is going to need to have absolutely perfect walls here, but it's Vinchester, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, beautiful job. That house actually needed to come up as well. So he gets the house. All things considered, pretty close. I think if the roles were reversed, we wouldn't maybe be feeling like the Inca player's position was quite this good, but we know it's Vinchester. We know who's the favorite, so that's always in the back of our mind. But I do got to say, like, if there was a list of 3 things that I would tell a player if I was their coach when going up against Vinchester, I would say pre-wall your wood lines, especially if he's Incas or Japanese or any of these early drush civs. Pre-wall your wood lines. If Ciskhan just pre-walled with 2 palisade walls, none of this would have been a big problem.
And we've seen players in TTL do that, especially on these maps that really welcome the sort of early aggression. And, you know, sometimes it's worth that little bit of inefficiency just to, you know, spend a couple tiles of palisade wall, but it really does just help keep you safe. That said, this was an extremely fast drush from Vinchester, even by his standards. So
yeah.
It clearly was just a specific early game opening that caught Ciskhan off guard, as both players are now on their way up to Feudal Age.
Yep, that's important. You got to be on the way to Feudal Age here if you're Ciskhan. Could honestly make a third militia here, and his militia are still healthy, so that could be Japanese man-at-arms. And he also has pushed in another deer with that scout, so that's more food for underneath the town center. And normally Vinchester would be inclined to add more militia himself. We haven't seen it yet. He's going to Q1 as I say it, and so is Ciskhan. So yeah, this is both players doing the same build, but again, just so crazy to me that these are not the civs I would have expected. We talked about Britons, we talked about Shu, there's Bengalis. There's so many good, like, economic late-game civs that both have gone for the aggression.
Yep, and that really does seem to be a bit more of the trend we are seeing. But Japanese men-at-arms are going to be on the way. The Inca men-at-arms, I mean, you're only going to get them for another few days, so got to have the last grasp of the
true.
The
they're going to get champies, right?
Yep.
All right, well, yeah, that's true. Enjoy it while it lasts. It'll be 5 militia. They're both just passing each other in the middle, and they're both determined to just ignore the other and do damage, but this is about damage control while simultaneously dishing out some damage and pressuring your opponent at the same time. But I gotta say, really like how many militia we have here for Ciskhan. This is no joke with Japanese. I don't think you even need arson for that palisade wall to go down. And again, Ciskhan needs to understand that the same thing could happen from Vinchester and pre-wall that woodline, Orlu. That's key.
It's mostly okay, that's exactly what he's doing. That is exactly what we want to see. Bills on gold also getting walled in. And I like what Ciskhan's doing here in that he's pressuring the forage bushes, because your food income is very, very poor at this moment as Vinchester if you don't have access to those forage bushes. And now a villager is all off by his lonesome. The low HP scout is doing enough, and there is evening up that KD on the eco right there as Ciskhan is still looking to apply more pressure.
Yeah, and he also needs to defend right now. He's going to need an archer range, which he has on the left side in front of his berries. I'm seeing a lot of idols right now, though, Ornlu, and I know Ciskhan, I think this is just the pressure adding up. 2 villagers on gold still idle. That needs to be sorted, but he's still applying pressure, and he still could get kills. That there's a villager on the front. Another villager dead for Vinch. Ciskhan blocking, and another villager dead for Vinchester. Ciskhan with a 2-villager lead.
And that is actually possible because of the speed buff that Men-at-Arms got a while ago. Able to just run around the villager fast enough there to block it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the application of that buff that they had a little while ago. Archer here back at home. So long as it is micro-weld here for Ciskhan, he is in a reasonable position. Now, the res collected look really ugly for our blue player, so he's going to need to be careful about that, because although you get the villager kills, if you have so much idle time, it won't really matter.
Yeah, but there's a key difference. If there's going to be a follow-up army from Vinchester, he will not be able to get into Ciskhan's eco, because Ciskhan will be completely walled. Vinchester clearly distracted there, runs into the town center fire. These men-at-arms are pretty much a non-issue now for Ciskhan. And I agree, Ciskhan needs to start to add the farms and fix his economy, but those men-at-arms are still there. He could also send a follow-up army towards Vinchester if he wants to.
He sure can. Men-at-Arms are still quite scary. I mean, there's 5 of them left. Their HP is starting to go down, though. And of course, with Vinchester babysitting these archers, they shouldn't take any damage, he said, with the decreasing confidence there for a moment. But I'm, like, relatively sure that none of these archers are going to die.
You know what we'll never see, but could be a real possibility right now for Ciskhan, especially with his civ? He's about to encounter these walls from Vinchester, which does keep him pretty safe behind here at the end of the day. He could go to the left side right now, build a lumber camp with Japanese, and chop through those reeds, and then go hit the entirety of that eco. But we have seen more chopping through on this map than in other tournaments. But at this stage of the game, it's just not in the players' minds, I feel.
Yeah, I totally agree with the timing aspect of it, where the players will go to the sides once the front has already been closed off to them. But I think what you're getting at is something a little bit more proactive, and I think that would be an interesting, at least, choice that these players could make. That said, that's not what is happening here, and it's actually just a scout patrolling there for Ciskhan and a random men-at-arm still guarding the relic.
Isn't it just crazy, though, how many farms Vinchester had behind all this? Like, he's been on these 14 farms for a long time. Ciskhan's just now adding them, but the food count for Vinchester's unreal. He lost his berry villagers, so he's left 250 food out there. He didn't push the amount of deer that Ciskhan did earlier with the scout because his eagle was super active, and yet Castle Age is going to be so much faster for him.
He also spent a lot less food. Not only do Incas get the men-at-arm discount, but he also made fewer of them.
Yeah.
So that's also giving him some important
then there's a hole.
There.
And there's a hole here, and Ciskhan didn't have his blacksmith because he thought he was completely walled. Are you kidding me? You got to be fully walled. You have to check these things. It's a relatively simple situation right now. It's pretty relaxed, at least as far as what it can be. I guess this isn't too bad. I thought without fletching he would be in trouble, but there were some weak units there for Vinch, and maybe it's fine for Ciskhan.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to echo that if your strategy revolves around you being walled, it is imperative that you check. I mean, I know AoE, it can be very weird and unintuitive with holes in the walls, but if this is your strategy, you have to check it. That said, Ciskhan had a bad situation, and he reacted literally perfectly to it.
Yeah.
Amazing micro. He actually debated the archers a little bit to the left with the villager trying to go for the quick wall, and that allowed the archers to make up for the lack of fletching range and just go in. It's a really cute little move as far as the micro goes.
Speaking of cute, Vinchester's eagle's still in there. So he's used the man-at-arm in the north to double check. He doesn't see anything. Now he's using the eagle. He's looped that the whole way around, and these two villagers have chopped with the lumber camp, and he is building a gate there, so he will know that Ciskhan is walled along the front now. I'm wondering if Ciskhan will be active in looking for this, because he's sending his archers to the north, I think because he knew the man-at-arm and eagle was there. But in the south, the villagers are through.
But he's sending the scout cavalry in the right direction. That is what you need to see here, because the last thing that you're going to want to Ciskhan is to be caught off guard here. Scout's on 2 HP, but look how much that 2 HP scout did, right? It got the villager block earlier, and it's seeing this critical information here. And just goes to show that a low HP scout is infinitely better than a no HP scout. And right now, Ciskhan is faster up to Castle Age.
Yeah, so nice shot from Ciskhan to realize that. I'm going to assume he's aware of that now, because he's actively moving the scout around. He is bringing the archers over. I've seen players who are Vinchester's caliber just use this as the mind game and not do anything out of the ordinary now. Now that your opponent is aware of this and has to react to you, he might just drop town centers and boom. This doesn't mean it has to be a siege workshop or anything. And then Ciskhan might, he might be extra worried. He might drop a tower. There's a lot of things that Ciskhan could do to overreact to this. It's just a couple archers encountering each other at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all Vinchester invested here was a little bit of idle time. The villagers are still being efficient. They're still chopping wood.
Yeah.
So at the moment, Ciskhan isn't overreacting. He's not disproportionately adding in defenses relative to what his opponent could, in theory, be throwing at him. That said, Vinchester is on 2 archery ranges, and he is actively using them, whereas Ciskhan here is only on the 1, as far as I can tell, and he is immediately going to add a TC here in a good position to protect this side of his base.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations, though, where you cannot fall behind in the archer numbers. But I think if with Ciskhan's micro, I've experienced this many times, played against him, he can be late to ballistics and be completely fine. It feels risky against Vinch because Vinch's micro is obviously far better than mine, but he will take the eco advantage where he can. He drops even a monastery. That's interesting. Clearly thinking about the relics. But you could see Ciskhan's micro. It's not bad. He's had lesser numbers here. That's really good value from this army.
Oh, man. Like, not bad is an understatement. That was a beautiful micro against somebody who has literally some of the best micro in the world from Ciskhan. And that's what you're saying. His execution, very, very strong. He's got a second TC up. That said, the numbers are not favorable, as you were mentioning. And this is still a very tricky situation. And he is all but guaranteed to be losing at least a villager or 2.
Yeah, and Vinchester had crossbow a bit faster. The monastery is the thing that I'm looking at right now as the question mark. You have 3 options. You have the university for ballistics, which can benefit the crossbows. You have the siege workshop, which can obviously help against enemy crossbows. The monastery is just to get relics, and I know that there are relics out there, and that can be valuable. Vinch will probably get them as well, but it feels like maybe that's a little early. Vinchester's got to be more than happy with this because he's got the army control, and this comes back to what you said. Like, Ciskhan, while his micro's been great, he just hasn't really had the numbers here.
It's tricky, and especially because he was only on 1 archery range, and is still only on 1 archery range. That Mangonel probably needed to come in a lot sooner, as you're saying, that monastery. If it was literally anything else, it would probably be a bit better. University Siege Workshop, an extra TC even, all probably would have been a little bit more efficient. That said, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters all that much at the moment, as the villagers are still coming in, and at least nothing's dying right now, and the Mangonel's almost out.
Yeah, I mean... Again, great micro. I think this could have gone sideways quickly. He's got the villager lead, so even if he loses a couple villagers, he'll still be ahead of Vinch. Vinch is still 1 town center, by the way. No additional town centers behind this. No ballistics. And he does have a siege workshop of his own, but Vinch has been a little late to the eco. Amazing job from him to control the game. He'll see the 3rd town center. He'll come in from the left side again, but just waiting for Vinch. I feel like he's got to at least have a 2nd town center here soon.
Oh, that was the first bill right there that Ciskhan has lost. Like, were you seeing how he's pulling back every single weak villager? Like, just to make sure nothing died to the crossbowman?
Yeah, and I mean, he notices Vinch is on the left. He won't expect the siege, though. He doesn't know about the siege workshop. He micros again.
How did that not hit? I have no idea sometimes how shots hit or don't hit.
Yeah.
But right now, it is all about the beautiful act of nature that is the Mangonel mating dance.
What? I'm sorry? Would that not... I'm going to move past that. I've never called Mangonel micro mating dance. You should... Next time you should say that in your best David Attenborough voice.
Yeah, I should.
But...
Well, you know, I got to keep you on your toes, man.
Oh, I'm on my toes. I'm very much on my toes. I wasn't on my toes before. I am now, so... Vinchester just now dropping the 2nd TC. He is 20 vills behind. Again, reverse the roles. If this was Vinchester defending up by almost 20 villagers, we would never think this game was losable for Vinchester. But this is now Ciskhan's time. He got promoted to Platinum, and he needs to stay here. He needs to start off and get any wins. He got swept in the first round against Mr. Yo. Can he hold this and stabilize his economy, or will it be too tough to manage? You could just tell... Sometimes when the players on the 3 TCs, they do have to put a higher percentage of their focus on the town centers. And the micro gets difficult. But some decent shots. And Ciskhan will get the repair.
There.
And Ciskhan gets the kill. Wow.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is a razor-thin margin here for both players. Note, guys, that the... Oh my goodness. That is so important. That is so important there for Ciskhan. The Vill count is great. The resources collected are still actually decent enough for Vinchester, going to show the inefficiency of Ciskhan's eco. That said, you throw enough villagers at the problem, eventually it's going to work out.
Yeah, you know what the game from Ciskhan reminds me of right now? It reminds me of very Viper approach. Present-day Viper, at least. The low army, get the relics early, defend with the eco lead. And a lot of times if Viper's losing these days, it's because that early pressure from the enemy adds up. But Ciskhan's given up the map control, maybe because of the style of map, and he's got a nice lead. I don't think he will realize how big a lead he has because there's too much to focus on, but as long as he can keep this up, this can be amazing.
It's so tricky to judge where your opponent is going to be going with their Mangonel. You can also consider going for either Cav Archers here, which are much tankier against Mangonels, or even Redemption Monks. So you do have some options here, but... You're doing well enough as Ciskhan. That said, that food is looking pretty good here for Vinchester for Imperial Age.
Yeah, I think that's my worry now too. Is will Vinch find a timing there? Vinch's gold count's pretty low though. I don't know if Vinchester's going to necessarily have the gold. You have to imagine with 21 farms for Ciskhan and only 18 for Vinch that maybe Ciskhan's going to eventually be able to ramp up those numbers. He could also use the market. But Ciskhan's micro has been unreal here. And I said so after the first round. Like, it's easy when when players you don't see as much get swept the first round to just think that today's going to be a series of 3-0s. But they got here for a reason, right? Ciskhan won his group in golds. And I love the confidence he's shown here.
Yeah, it is definitely not a scaredy cat play. to go immediate 3 TCs with bare minimum defense, only 1 archery range. That is somebody who has a clear plan and honestly just believes in their own execution. And why shouldn't you as Ciskhan with how well he's playing?
Yep. No, agreed. I think if this was another map where he would maybe have some army activity potential in Vinchester's base, he would have been... He could have won the game. He could have gone counterattack with any army and defended with the mangonels with this micro. But that's the thing, is still in the back of my mind, is which civ is better long-term. I think it's a pretty close matchup, to be honest. Japanese might even be favored. But the mating dance, as you call it, continues, and Ciskhan continues to get the better of Vinchester here.
It's darn impressive, that's for sure. Ballistics is on its way for Vinchester. We did have the second archery range, and actually now the third archery range coming as finally Vinch gets a good mangonel hit. He sorely needed that one. But honestly, if you're Vinchester at this point, yes, his eco upgrades being in way sooner is helping him a lot maintain at least a degree of equilibrium there. But if he doesn't make something happen soon, it's actually going to be Ciskhan who's almost to imp and has castle resources.
Yeah, now, there's a lot of continuous pressure from Vinchester, and so you have stone and gold on the left of your base. You may feel like, in normal circumstances, just defensive castle, but I love the thought process here from Ciskhan. It might be a little too risky, but he's like, I'm not going to react to you, Vinch, because if I react to you, you're the experienced player, and you'll make it happen. He's going to bring all of his army to the middle now and think about a forward castle. I would say, yeah, that's a better one for your first castle, especially now that he sees the skirmishers from Vinch. That castle should complete for Ciskhan. That should be no problem, and it's right near all the gold. I would like to see a follow-up castle, though, so he needs to have more on stone for the second one.
But this is fine. It's getting sort of that stronghold at the front of your base. It's going to help secure this gold access, and it gives you sort of that launching point that you need to start to cross the map, because it's hard to push your opponent because of the middle being a pit area.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that. And of course, now both players are transitioning into the almighty skirmisher, because why would these two infantry civs make anything else?
Yeah, right now with the archers they have, feels natural now that their economy's improved to add in skirms, especially for the Incas because it's cheaper. I think it feels awkward right now for the Japanese. You probably just have to match the skirms. But then eventually, if you have multiple castles, I think samurai are very viable in this matchup. So, skirms for now. You've invested into all the ranged upgrades and have the ranges. Get Bracer, get Chemistry and Imp. You'll beat Vinchester's skirms, and then you can go Trebs. Then you can use your castles for samurai.
I actually totally agree with you. I think that samurai, especially when they were given their charge attack thingy now, where you can sort of close in on the ranged units more easily, that should help out that unit switch a lot. But what you need for the time being is to, stay alive. And right now, the skirmisher is just the best unit to do that. You need to be, of course, careful with the unit control. But Imperial Age is now in for Ciskhan, and he should be ready to rumble.
Yeah, nice micro there. That's crazy. Good micro. Vinchester saw Imp, and Vinchester wanted some kills before the upgrades came in. Actually ended up losing just as many units as Ciskhan. Ciskhan will be with Bracer in a second. Small detail, though, is the left side is still open. And I would just love to see Ciskhan build 2 guard towers there. 2 towers, so you never have to worry about that. I could push the middle would be so nice. Vinch is definitely going to try some shenanigans over there if he gets an opportunity, but nothing yet from Vinchester.
At the very least, you do have the outpost. I kind of wish the mangonel wasn't all off by its poor lonesome, so that it's just asking to get killed, and honestly, that seems to be potential right there, but no, I'm sure all of the focus for these guys is right here in the middle of the map, because this skirmisher is really dancing a trebuchet back and forth.
That's Ciskhan. Welcome to Ciskhan. For those that don't know, like he'll micro a trebuchet back and forth. That was not a bug. Here he comes. Now he wants to pressure. Maybe still a little bit ambitious. I love the confidence from Vinch. He's like, you're an imp. I'm not giving you ground. I am not allowing you to. I'm going to still use my skirms at an upgrade deficit and patrol through here. This is giving him a lot of time. And I don't know about you, Ornlu, but it's starting to feel like Vinchester, even though he's down to relics, he's holding at it, and he's giving himself a chance here for one big pushback in early Imperial Age. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I love the castle that he has in a very safe location in his base, recognizing that his opponent could be bombarding him at the front very soon. So it's going to be... There's no way that that castle can be pressured before Vin can get his own sizable numbers of trebuchets out, and that's exactly going to be the case. That said, Ciskhan is still here with his own trebuchets. No Katapuruto yet, guys. And right now, it's just spamming skirmishers, and Incas do that better than Japanese.
I like how Ciskhan has decided, whatever, I'll take the fight up the hill. I'm down upgrades. I need a castle on the front. This has to happen. The castle has to complete, otherwise this is disastrous. I think the castle's got enough villagers there to complete it. And then the archer ranges for Vinch, which he's using to produce, are now exposed. The TCs could be exposed. And honestly, if Ciskhan can get Cataparuto, things could go sour very quickly here for Vinchester. His castle's been spotted, and Ciskhan could pack right up and make a move.
Exactly the case. We have chemistry in here for Vinchester, and the thing for Vinch actually is that he doesn't have anything other than skirmishers. He can go over and there's Cataparuto. It is not a cheap upgrade, guys. It's not one you can just freely pick up. 750 wood for oh no, they made it cheaper. My bad.
Yeah,
it
550.
750 wood.
Yep.
Now it's only 550, 300. So it is actually much easier to get.
And neither Civ gets bombard cannon. And Ciskhan has more skirms, despite his skirmishers being more expensive. And Vinchester would need a lot of time to ever make a full-on eagle switch. This could just straight up end the game. Cataparuto Trebs could treb down Vinch's Trebs, take down the castle, take down the TCs, and then it's just game over. Ciskhan I like what he's doing. I'm very pro go for the castle if you're on the offensive instead of going for the Trebs. I'd prefer he do that instead. But maybe with Cataparuto, it's worth it that you just hope your trebuchets get the damage done.
I think the thought process might just be that your castle's on the low ground, so in a protracted repairing castle wars, you're at a big disadvantage.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I do agree with you, but I think that might be the thought process there for Ciskhan.
My thought process is you're sinking a lot of stone into repairs. Your opponent's not. And, like, I think this has gone horrible for him. He hasn't taken down a single trap. Yeah. He had all the momentum. He has the better trap. He hasn't taken down a single trap, and he's lost his castle. Couple raids coming from Vinch on the left side. Such a nice job for Vinch to hold there. And Ciskhan might start to worry now, but also might start to think, can I make something other than skirmisher here? Because I will back up with another castle. My eco could be better. I think he needs to have more on food again to get into samurai, but samurai are still a very good option here.
Yeah, his eco upgrades have started coming in, just as you say, that queues up 6 samurai right there. So he's got the right idea. It is, of course, going to be the key counter there to those skirmishers once they get upgrades. It's, of course, the big qualifier. That said, Incas do have the slinger, and for the time being, they still demolish infantry units.
Yeah. Look at all the stats. Look at all the game position. We've got better military numbers for Ciskhan, even though it's light. He's got access to all the gold in the middle. He has 4 relics. This should be Ciskhan's game as far as those stats are concerned. But Vinchester still has a lot of gold on his side. And Vinchester still has this cut open on the left. And this is always going to be about this left side. There's always going to be something. Ciskhan sees a tower. He will respond with a castle, not knowing that Vinchester has trebs prepared for that castle. I think Ciskhan, if he sees that, just needs to delete it. He needs to delete it. Yep. Okay, so he deletes it. And now he needs to push Vinch. He cannot allow Vinchester to have control on the left side like this. That's a lot of stone and gold. He needs to consider a push, but can he push?
Oh, I don't know about this, T90. I think that you need to recognize that the only actual unit that your opponent has are skirmishers.
Yeah.
So they're not a very scary, like, destroy all your buildings in your base sort of unit. So I think what you need to do is you just need to, like, go right for the gut of Vinchester's base, because your stuff will demolish everything faster.
It's so hard to, though. Vinchester's eco is so good. Like, he has so much more continuous farm and food eco. And now Vinchester, after the distraction in the south, is going to simply position some trebs in the north to go for Ciskhan's castle. This is Vinchester taking some control of the game. This is the underdog panicking despite having the lead most of the game. Masterful work from Vinchester to pull his opponent out of position. He's using villagers against the trebs. He does lose 2 trebs of his own. I don't know if that's going to work, but he is Incas, I guess. Maybe he'll get one.
Yeah, they are tankier, but Sapper's coming in too. Remember, trebs have that ram armor class. So Bills get bonus damage against them.
I mean, he just took down 2 trebuchets with villagers. I think that's worth it. As Ciskhan lost his castle in the middle, Ciskhan never had the time for the upgrades on the samurai. Oh no, what has happened to Ciskhan? Well, I thought he had this. He was pushing so well. He wasn't unable to take down any castles from Vinch with his trebs. And Vinch on the left side has all of his stone and gold now. His eco as well just fell apart there when the fights were going poorly for him. He didn't have auto farm on. A lot of those farms were not reseeding. And Vinchester, 200 pop.
Yeah, this is just that experience and overall skill level coming in for Vinchester. The eco efficiency at these top levels of play is so critical.
Yeah.
Because if you just have more resources to play with than your opponent, then you can usually make something happen. I mean, the Inca discount on top of all of that is very nice, but even without it, Vinch was taking the better fights. He had more resources coming from behind, and despite Ciskhan being in the better position, Vinch is simply just more experienced.
I think there's still a chance to hold and stabilize for Ciskhan. If he can hold against this, he still has the relics. He will still have the center gold. If his trebs defend on both sides here, we have ourselves a game still. He's got 4 trebs against 1, firing uphill in the middle. And then he has 2 trebs against 2, firing actually a little bit uphill in his base. He's also added more farms. He's up to 44 on food now, but he is running out of stone right now, and that's my concern. If you just straight up run out of castles, if you can't go for Samurai in this matchup, you're very limited on options.
Yeah, and I think part of the issue is that although the stone collected from the 2 players is pretty similar, Ciskhan spent so much more stone repairing castles, as Vinchester's treb production's been very good. And then Ciskhan, like we were saying, has just been trying to focus down the enemy trebuchets. Also, it doesn't matter really that Ciskhan has so much more gold collected because he's only making skirmishers. He's not able to spend that gold on a better unit right now.
This is now the 3rd time, about to be the 4th time, that Vinchester has used Inca villagers against trebuchets. Getting that sapper's tech is something so many people wouldn't do, Ornlu. So many people would forget that. So many people wouldn't cut the north as well. Vinchester has now cut through. He knows Ciskhan is already out of space in the south. He will now tower rush and slinger and skirmisher rush up there. And now he's sending more vills to their death underneath the castle. That's probably a little bit ambitious. But Vinch is just going full chaos mode, and Ciskhan is running out of space.
Ciskhan is running out of space. He's running out of resources. He's now 5,000 resources behind. And now, I mean, there's just guard towers in the back of his base. Vinch has the resources now to make that Eagle Warrior switch, which, I mean, there's nothing now that can stop Eagle Warriors. And the one thing Vinch was really lacking was just a power unit, and that is going to change very soon. And it doesn't even matter. He's just killing his opponent's eco with skirmishers and towers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might not even need to change anything at this point. Like, there's so little defensive structures for Ciskhan. He's just going to run out of steam eventually. I don't think Ciskhan even noticed the cut in the north, by the way. If he noticed it, it doesn't really change much. He can't push these keeps, or what will soon be keeps from the Incas. But yeah, he's just lost his whole eco up there as he's focusing on stabilizing the south and trying to push again in the middle. His Vil count's 86 now, and now he sees it.
Yeah. He just doesn't have the food income to switch into champions, and even if you did, you already have fully upgraded slingers, so they would just clobber the champions anyway.
Here comes Vinch again. Here comes Vinch again. He'll take down another Treb with these Vils. Oh, wait, no. Catapruta maybe saves it because of the fast pack-up. But, man, I wasn't expecting 4 trebuchets to be killed by villagers today.
Well, it's why it's fun casting these games. You know, you see something new every day.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's really enjoying. Vinch really utilizing everything at his disposal with the Incas. And you love seeing players really try and leverage every single strength they can.
That goes back to the early game as well, right? Like Vinchester's drush was all because of the bonuses from the Incas. Man, he's got keeps everywhere. Like everywhere. He's got keeps on both sides. He keeps sneaking in. I don't know if he has murder holes, but probably needs to snag that. And yeah, now Ciskhan needs to send army back. I think Ciskhan knows he's dead right now, but I think you play on because you are frustrated. You thought you had this one. And it's the first game. You want to cool your nerves, but this could snowball on you mentally as a player, right? Like, if you felt like you had it and you let it slip away, maybe you start to feel some doubt in your strategies in the next one. I'm sad for Ciskhan on that. I really think had he used his trebuchets on that one castle from Vinch instead of against the trebs, at least he takes down the castle. At least he forces a lot of stone spend from Vinchester to repair. But, like, that moment was game-changing because the second he lost the middle castle, he's super focused on stabilizing the middle, and Vinch just packed up his trebs, rolled right to the left side, came in, and then it was full panic mode from Ciskhan.
And I think Vinch also just did a better job of making more trebs, and just having that treb numbers advantage felt pretty significant throughout a huge portion of the Imperial Age there. But yeah, those keeps just kept Ciskhan's eco a complete mess.
Yeah.
And that, 7% difference in eco efficiency is gigantic, guys.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Japanese can go towers themselves. Japanese actually have superior towers, right? We could have seen Yasama towers. But like I see some people questioning, like, did he need to go forward castles? Can he just play into samurai? To be honest with you, I think forward castles were completely fine. You just got to continue the push. You have to kill before the sides matter. You can also play super defensive. You could play super defensive castles and towers and samurai, but that's not Ciskhan's style. Ciskhan also knows Vinchester's got some heavy discounts on the other side with Incas. And Ciskhan was probably very much aware of his own eco, too. That maybe his farms were expiring, but... yeah, I mean, we said it already. Great game for Vinchester. Vinchester happy with the win. Hopefully for Ciskhan, he can play as well as he did the first 2/3 of that game, because that was quality. Yeah, game 2. Ciskhan has to fight past any negative feelings he feels, possibly letting game 1 slip away. He's now 0-4. We look hoping for a win. He's gone for Persians. We have Vietnamese for Vinchester, and then we have the new and I would say improved Valley with all the additional food in the middle. And most of that food, with the exception of a couple ibex, is not pushable to your town center.
Don't tell that to all of the chicken funnelers of the world. They'll find a way.
Boar steal.
Oh!
Boar steal, and Ciskhan needs to notice that. You're against Vietnamese, and he didn't notice it. He notices it now. Oh, man. I mean, if he noticed right away, he had the chance to block it. There's a couple civs out there that when you see they're up against you, you have to respect they could be stealing. Mongols is one. Vietnamese would be the other. Ciskhan is going to try now to block this. Let's see if he can. This would be a nice start for Vinchester. And, the block happens. Wait, no, it
what?
doesn't. I thought it...
Yeah, it stopped.
Was it just stuck? Or did it full on stop?
It had the animation like it was just standing there, right? It wasn't like it was frozen mid-run.
I want to look at that again. I'm going to go back and take a peek at that.
All right.
Vinchester obviously gets it. It looked like it stopped, yes. But no, it still was like mid-stride. It still was mid-stride. Okay. It didn't actually stop and stand. So no bugs. It felt to me like it was still in range of Vinchester's scout, and Vinchester with a very good start here. I know Persians start with extra res, but when you can't push deer, when you can't guarantee to push 4 deer to recover, it could be brutal to get lamed on this map.
Yeah, this is where soapbox time. It's why the only laming I don't like is exactly scout stealing boar, because what happened is Vinchester sent his scout right over and happened to run into the boar immediately, and Ciskhan was like very slightly out of position, and it was entirely then on Vinchester to screw up. Like there was nothing Ciskhan could do to actually get an advantage at that point. It was just entirely reliant on Vinchester messing up.
Well, and Ciskhan also did the right thing. He's going to steal some sheep, which may eventually get back home. But he did bring in his first boar right away.
Yeah.
So that's the right call. And I just, unfortunately, with both those boars being forward, which doesn't always happen. Like Vinchester's got one in the back. Yeah, he kind of gets screwed over there. But that's what laming can be. It can be very all or nothing. It can be high risk, high reward. But I would argue at this level, when everything matters so much and when it's not easy to recover the food with a deer push or two, yeah, you got to do it as the Vietnamese.
Oh, yeah. Use every tool at your disposal. And the Vietnamese have that bonus for a reason. And one of them is so that you can lame effectively. And that is exactly what Vinch did. And what's amazing for Vinch is that he only took the minimum 2 boar hits with the scout.
Yeah.
So, the scout is still at least on half HP, because what can happen is if you screw it up even a little bit, then suddenly your scout's almost dead and it's, not too useful in the early game. Militia gives it a little love tap there. But still pretty decent here for Vinchester.
Yeah, so this was also when we balanced the map, I wanted some pushable res, because now Ciskhan has the ability to recover. It's a tough balance, though, because if you make all of the hunt in the middle pushable, you will never see any incentive to go there, because players will just spend all their Dark Age pushing in deer. So happy to see that Ciskhan gets the extra food there, still has the extra sheep looping home. And he's going to Militia, which Vinchester is going to see. And for once, Vinchester's not doing the same here.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that this 2 militia rush was always the plan for Ciskhan, or do you think it was an adaptation to getting lamed?
Um, I think he is really comfortable with the build. Honestly, I think this is always his plan. He did it in the first game, and it plays towards archers, which he's best at. I mean, look how good he is. This is Vinchester. Vinchester gets away from this against the majority of players, but he also found out in the first game that he blocks faster than Vinchester does. Like, he can get in front of Vinchester's clicks, and usually Vinchester is out clicking him. So he's going to take the risk here. And that villager survives, but that's still worth it. You still end up killing one vill and disrupting Vinchester.
I mean, for having a very bad start there for Ciskhan, this is as good a recovery as you could ask for. And yeah, I think just being very confident in that blocking. We do have villagers coming forward here for Vinchester. See if it's going to be for just a mill or any sort of more aggressive forward. But as it stands, no swordsman queued up for him whatsoever. No villagers on gold.
Yeah, but he got a big look at Ciskhan's base. He's seen everything here. He sees the main golds very far forward. He sees the berries and the woodlines on the back. This isn't that common, but this feels like a tower forward from Vinchester behind the woodline. I don't know exactly what it is. I should point out as well that Ciskhan did not get those 2 sheep from Vinch back home. Vinchester found them.
Yeah, that was a nice little catch there for Vinch. Feudal Age is going to be in, and yeah, one vill almost certainly going to be for an archery range, and then more for towering.
Yeah, so archer range on the hill. Ciskhan is trying to get even more food. He will find the archer range with his scout as he is pushing in the eye bag. so that's...
Oh, hi there.
That's nice. I mean, he gets a little lucky. He was obviously unlucky before. But what a tower from Vinch. That tower will be really annoying long-term for Ciskhan.
And it's interesting because towering feels like it could be a little bit better these days because the uptimes are so fast and everyone's just sticking on one lumber camp. So if you kind of get that one woodline denied, it can often be very difficult to actually secure another one. And there's literally only one other woodline even available for Ciskhan anyway.
But if you go forward archer range and forward tower... That's now 2 investments onto the front, where if it doesn't pay off and they ever counterattack you, you are very exposed, right? So I think that Ciskhan needs to keep that in the back of his mind. This is obviously going to be very uncomfortable. But if he can get 2 archers to Vinchester's base, I mean, Vinchester will have no skirmisher, no ability to tower there, at least for now.
Yeah, I do still need to be super careful. That said, I do like that Vinch was able to get both Bidaxe and Horse Collar, so able to leverage that discount you get for the Vietnamese. And he's actually sending 2 of the forward bills on stone. Like, how often do we get to see a prolonged tower rush these days? This is fun.
Yeah, Vinchester, he lamed him, right? And he knows that Ciskhan has to have perfect eco management, perfect balance to stabilize. That tower definitely affects things. Like, Ciskhan wanted to make his own skirms. He couldn't do it. He couldn't add the farms he wanted. There's just a lot of delay. And now Ciskhan, he abandons the golds because he has to change his strategy. He's now towering the woodline because he doesn't really have a lot of army. And that is not a tower that is really that good long-term. So, yeah, Vinchester no doubt feeling good after the comeback in the first game. But I think feeling very good right now just with how many reactions he's going to force from Ciskhan.
Yeah, and if Vinchester sees that tower, he can just build a tower in a better location. Now, you do have stone at the back for Ciskhan, so that is potentially important. But look at this eco balance. That's 26 on wood and 2 on food, T90. That's not good.
Yep, and if you didn't need to invest into that lumber camp and spend all that time walking over there, you would probably have 4 or 5 more farms right now, which seems crazy to the viewers probably, but it definitely has just been idle time. We now have another tower from Vinch. That will deny 2 of these farms, so those farmers are going to need to be moved away. Score says right now that Ciskhan's still in this. Res Collected says Ciskhan is still in this. But I'm going to need to see some positives for him right now, because this is just... It's not looking good if this continues in this way.
The Vills are sick and tired of being sick and tired, T90. Here we go. The house is also only on 32 HP. You need to make sure the Vills are properly positioned right there. But that tower is going to be getting battered down there by Ciskhan, so there's at least something of a win.
Yeah, that's good work. I mean, I think Vinchester will try his best to harass here, but he doesn't have any archers behind. He doesn't have any skirms nearby. I think that tower will go down, which saves the farms. Ciskhan still has a lot of farms. He's building up his own skirms. We'll still need perfect micro, but he did show us in the previous game that He can micro at a numbers disadvantage pretty nicely. Not bad.
I'm a little concerned about the skirm numbers because, you know, he who skirms more will skirm best. And especially Vietnamese, 6 extra HP, that means 2 more skirm hits to go down. It does feel like Vinchester is just going to be really difficult to actually get out of his base.
Was that a Sun Tzu quote? I'm pretty sure that was a Sun Tzu quote, right? He who skirms more will skirm best.
Behind me. I have to double check the actual page number, but it's there somewhere.
I'm pretty certain that's what Sun Tzu said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what this is going to transition into for Vinchester, because obviously Ciskhan's gonna just play skirms for now, but you play too heavy into skirms and your base is too open, and then scouts become very possible. So I keep looking back at Vinchester's base. He's not doing anything just yet, but even like knights in Castle Age could just wreck both economies because they're so open. So I think we could see a stable soon.
Yeah, I would love that decision. I love it when Vietnamese players go ahead and get that wheelbarrow upgrade. It just comes in so fast. And if you're going for skirms and scouts, that extra food income is very, very helpful to have. And a transition here for Vinchester could be totally possible. Or you could just click up the Castle Age. I think you could justify either. He's got gold in the back of his base. He's not walled yet, but at least he's going in that direction right now. And we only just now have Horse Collar coming in for Ciskhan, who only after 16 farms have been built.
Watch Vinchester scout. This is obviously live. He will find that stable. He is so locked in when he's playing to what will come. He will look for that. That could have been a blacksmith on the front from Ciskhan. He actually had it placed and canceled it. And Vinchester's just been waiting. He's like, I know that this could go into scouts. Now he knows about this. And this is great because he can now queue up the spears behind. What's not so good is if he loses all of his skirms on the front, then suddenly it becomes very obvious for Ciskhan. Ciskhan's not going to think it's a skirm war anymore if Vinchester loses his numbers. So well played, Ciskhan, to clear that up. Now I think Ciskhan should recognize that, like, Vinchester can't even play straight spear defense in theory because there's enough skirms out there. As I say that, there's more skirms, so maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, come on. When did you ever think that the skirm numbers would go too low in a game of Age of Empires? There are always more of them. But the full HP scout here for Ciskhan is quite relevant, as the scout there of Vinchester is going to go down, and the skirms could, in theory, just micro down the spearmen without too much difficulty.
Yep, that's why skirms are always going to be needed for Ciskhan. Skirms against the spears, scouts against the skirms, and then skirms against the skirms, and spears against the scouts. That's the idea here. But I like
a lot of S words all at once.
Yeah, seriously. I like the positioning though for Ciskhan. He's actually boxing out the archer range from where the spearmen are coming from. So he's getting in the middle. Again, like right when you think, okay, game number 1, Vinchester kills the villager at the start. Vinchester's just going to win. Ended up being a game where Ciskhan had a nice lead. Here as well, Vinchester with a really good start. He gets the lane. Ciskhan recovering. I mean, He's recovered, but can he actually win the game? Or will Vinchester find a way back to pressure and get win number 2?
Well, that is, of course, going to be the big question. There are 3 villagers here who are kind of stuck, and the skirmishers are going to come forward and slowly whittle them down. Both players have Castle Age aspirations at this point. That said, Vinchester's market isn't quite in, so the eco balance isn't quite perfect. And although this was, again, an excellent recovery from Ciskhan after the early game disaster, he still has a kind of an exposed eco. Is still going to be up against Vinchester, who is super safe.
Yeah, but I think if Ciskhan recognizes the way this game is going to flow, he shouldn't be this exposed. I think you can wall between the houses in front of your TC into the wood line. You can simply shift those villagers that are on the gold to the back golds. There's no reason. You even have the neutral gold in the corner if he finds it. There's no reason for you to be fully raidable here. This can be easily full walled. Vinchester's dropping an archer range at home, which, again, feels odd to me because your one range is kind of on an island. I know I have experience with ranges on islands, but you don't want them there. You don't want them forward and exposed like this. You would want them together if you're going to play cav archers, so I'm just not so sure about this. And now Vinch is in fully walled, and scouts can get in to take a look around and see it's going to be an archer range.
Love to see that. I mean, you can reasonably guess that Vietnamese here are going to be going for cav archers themselves. Maybe, you know, you would get caught off guard with like a fire lancer play, but as things stand right now, it's going to be cav archers from Vinchester. And something I want to ask you is, what do you think about these civs in the mid game here? Do you think Persians should try and match the Vietnamese cav archers?
No, I don't like matching the Vietnamese cav archers if you still have skirms alive, right? It really just comes down to the flow of the game. And actually, that's part of what makes Ciskhan's Feudal Age so good. It wasn't just the villager kills. He has 4 now, and the fact that he lost 0. But it's the fact that he still has skirms alive against a good CA civ. So I think Ciskhan can actually just kind of boom it out and drop villagers here and drop town centers, rather, and make vills. And he's dropping a monastery again, which he did in the previous game. A little surprising, but Persians have the better boom. They have more vills to spam, and for Vinchester, I guess we'll drop the TCs, but yeah, I like skirms for now.
Yeah, and what I totally agree with you. You gave me the answer I wanted to hear. Thank you. But I really think that, okay, you're playing Persians versus Vietnamese. As Persians, you're not really going to be at your strongest if you click up to Imperial Age, let's say 80 to 90 villagers, and then you just try and go for like an early imp timing. That's not what Persians do well.
Yeah.
Persians like having a gigantic eco so they can spam very expensive units. So what you can do is like just play defensive skirmisher here, get those villagers down, and then if you can just sort of invest not as much into army, then you can click up to imp with a better economy and get that cavalry transition that you will need to win the game.
Same situation as last game, pretty much. Only the army count's actually higher for Ciskhan. It's a better situation. He's got a nice villager lead. He's just sniped another villager. Ciskhan needs this win. Yeah. He cannot survive in Platinum if he cannot get this win. And he has done all the heavy lifting so far, right? Like, getting a lead over Vinchester is so difficult. Like even like someone like Hera, for example, doesn't have a lead against Vinchester that's this significant. He normally takes it later game. So I would love to see Ciskhan make it happen, because right now I feel for him. Game number 1 is just still in my brain, in my mind.
It's a tough one mentally, for sure. That said, he's escorting the monks here with his skirmishers, so the relics are going to start to come in. TC number 3 coming in for Ciskhan as well. Good macro so far, minimizing idle TC time with a civ that is kind of tricky to keep that idle TC time low with. And, you know, Ciskhan's listened to both of us. It's just some skirms defense while going for a boom.
Yeah, not fully walled, which really upsets me. And I think that is something that he may end up regretting. I just do not understand it. You are so close to being fully walled. You should never allow your opponent to just run into your base like this. It's just the small things sometimes that players consistently do that we just get used to. Vinchester's going to run through. Vinchester might not kill a lot with this, but what he does do is he gets the whole map behind it, because there will be no skirmishers moving forward anymore. This is the first sign of control that Vinchester's had in a minute. He will be very happy. He will nerd out with these cav archers. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And if you're Ciskhan, if instead of, if you only invested into a few houses here at the front, you wouldn't need the university for ballistics. It's just not something that is all that important for you right now.
Yeah.
And that university could have been a bunch more farms.
Yeah.
And that's really where you want to be going in the long run here as the Persians. You don't want a super wood-centric eco, which is the current moment.
Oh, the Lycav actually sniped a Mangonel, though, in front of the Siege Workshop, and those Lycav were very weak, so nice find there from Ciskhan. He does need to get back onto the farms in the back, but that's crazy value for 2 weak Lycav to find the Siege Workshop and snipe the first Mangonel.
I literally saw the Lycav go over there, and I'm like, okay, the Lycav see the Mangonel, but they're going to get sniped before they can kill the Mangonel. I just panned away immediately thinking, that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Nope. Nice job there getting the kill from Ciskhan. Ballistics is in. That said, he's still only on a single archery range and only 10 skirmishers. Vinchester will eventually start to outnumber his opponent with his own ranged units.
This is the problem I have with the Persians myself. You get to the 3 TCs, you get the villager lead, and then you never have any resources for army. It takes so long because you need to constantly have so much food to keep the town centers running. And, oh man, the cav archers have made it into the back. They're sniping the farms. That's 3 farms sniped. That's 180 wood down the drain. The skirms for Ciskhan have still missed this. Ornlu, that freaking hole, bro. The fact that he didn't have a couple houses have led to all of this. It's so frustrating to see if you're a Ciskhan fan, but he will clear up the CA. He will snipe the Mangonel. He still could be fine, but he's got to start to be shaking a little bit more. My goodness. Great job from Vinch to create the chaos. But I'm surprised at how late Vinch has been in the town with the town centers in both games. Like, he's just now to TC3. He isn't making any heavy food units. except for a couple knights.
And yet his food income is very good. He got the eco upgrades very early with the Persians. It was actually one of the advantages he had in the last game, was just getting those eco upgrades a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Ciskhan only with basically the Feudal Age level upgrades. Now you're going to be adding in, I guess, another lumber camp there at the back. But the thing with Persians is, again, they are not a good early imp civ. Especially not on this current meta where you click up between like 80 to 100 villagers. You're going to want a big eco so you can get your big fancy cav units.
That monk has ran away from where the CA are multiple times. He finally gets found. Vinch is going to go crazy army here. Look at the worker efficiency stats. 54% last minute for Ciskhan versus 65%. It's a 10% overall worker efficiency lead for Vinchester across the whole game. That has been the difference, even though the worker count isn't there. And the knights, 3 knights go down. No. It's going to be 4 knights go down. And without sniping the mangonel, and now it is +2 armor for Vinchester's knights to push the skirmishers back too. This could get bad for Ciskhan. Very, very bad.
Ciskhan does have 10 vills on stone, but it's very far away from the castle. He's got the stables incoming right now, but at the moment, Vinchester's army is very significantly better. And these days, it's hard to tell Vietnamese from Huns, because this is like a Hun mid-game push, but Vinch's eco, very solid. A couple light cav, not really doing a whole lot there in the back of the base for Ciskhan. Both players getting housed, because that's what everybody does in Age of Empires. And right now, Ciskhan's going to struggle to hold on.
Yeah, imagine if those knights, if he had some patience there. There was no immediate damage happening. If he had some patience there, just conserved his army, he would have 4 knights right now with upgrades on the way. Also have his skirms, maybe still have the tools to be able to fight this back. But now, lacking some numbers, it gets a little bit more questionable. He does recognize, though, he needs full army. And there are only 12 cav archers for Vinch, and a lot of them are weak. So I don't really know if Vinchester's army is big enough. But he does have the full map control. And he will find some openings for damage long-term, because eventually Ciskhan's going to have to move out of his base.
This is actually really interesting, T90, because Vinch has 2 forward stables. He's like going all knights at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't really know why. That feels like you're playing into the Persians who can just make camels. And the mid-game booming is still better for Persians as well, so I'm not entirely sure why this is a thing.
Well, he saw skirms, and he's just now seeing how many camels are out. So he got a good look in there. So, but ultimately, I think it really comes back to he never got a big, massive CA, and that's the goal. I think if you have both, camels are not so good. If you don't have both, camels are going to be fantastic. And Ciskhan, again, it's looked rough at times, and it maybe feels inevitable Vinchester's going to pull out a comeback because of the experience between the two players. But he's really booming up with army numbers. He would drop a castle on the front. He snipes the cav archers there. Yeah, this army from Vinchester is just going to hit a massive wall. I do not think he can push 17 camels.
No, and I think what I really appreciate what Ciskhan did is he did not underinvest into the stables. Like, it's not like when Vinch's push started, Ciskhan had a ton of stables and camels being produced. He just saw the knights, he saw the forward stables, and was like, nope, we need camels, and we need them yesterday. He's on 5 stables here in sort of this mid-Castle Age time frame, and this is ensuring that he is going to be able to safely deflect what his opponent's throwing at him. And this should be a good fight for Ciskhan.
Should be really good. I'm actually surprised Vinchester brought the fight to him. I think Vinchester's telling himself it's fine because cav archers still kill camels, but there's not that many cav archers, and there's still the skirms. Ciskhan will get the full clear here. Vinchester needs to get away. There's no way Vinchester should ever be near that many camels. And Vinchester in a panic now, dropping the barracks, will go for fire lancers, but that's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. You don't really have the barracks down yet. You don't have the Fire Lancer-related upgrades in. That said, Vinch does have Imperial Age coming in, and that is huge because Vietnamese, one of the very strongest early Imperial Age civs with Bracer, with the free conscription. That said, that's a forward castle, and that's an interesting one.
This castle either needs to be on the hill, which he's now doing, or it needs to be repositioned so he can actually range the town center from Vinch. You cannot place a castle that's just on the flat ground there. The hill makes it tougher to take down. Imp is on the way for Ciskhan too. Vinch has the knights. He knows there's a hole from earlier because Ciskhan sent a couple camels to snipe his mangonel. And yet again, a continuous problem for Ciskhan is holes in his walls. He doesn't see it. He sees it now,
he does.
But that's such a good raid for Vinchester. My goodness.
Now, a lot of the knights are low HP. I mean, it's still only 3 camels, so it's not like it's that great. But you have to be a bit careful there as Vinchester. And I mean, in terms of number of vills, okay, those knights are quick walls.
Yeah, I mean, quick walls have to happen here, or you lose 20 villagers. That's perfect quick walls from Ciskhan. Yep. He will get camels back there. I love it from Vinch, though, because he's finding a positive moment when it's looking very bleak otherwise. And with the faster Imperial Age time, he could have Trebs pretty soon to take down Ciskhan's castle. So, nice play from Ciskhan. I just can't help but feel like there's just so many avoidable situations in regards to damage he's receiving because of holes in his walls.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's not important in like the overall skill level as an AoE player, but it's these little things that can really separate a win from a loss when these guys are so close and they're both so high level in overall skill. So it's definitely something that when he looks back at these games, which he absolutely should do, I'm sure, and then he'll notice it, I'm sure.
Well, here's another detail. Vinchester sent one of the knights to the wood line. It got sniped. Ciskhan says, I killed everything. There's still another knight there, so I'll keep an eye on that, see if that knight ever comes back into the fights. I think Ciskhan's just feeling like if he can keep these castles up for as long as possible, Vinchester's going to run out of resources and run out of gas. But I should point out that Ciskhan still doesn't have a lot of the stone and gold to the north of his base because Vinchester's tower and villagers still there mining the stone. So with 4 relics, that's good. But if you lose 2 castles, it can be the same story as the previous game where you have no defensive castles anymore. And Vinchester's got like 3 or 4 stacked up for the late game.
Yeah, now chemistry is coming in, and the hand cannoneers for Persians are going to be an important tool here. And look at this, the camels immediately trying to come in and snipe the trebuchet, but the fire lancers are there. Make those elite fire lancers 102 HP on an infantry unit. Skirms are here being a bit annoying to the north.
The knight went back in too.
Yeah.
Sorry, knight went back in. That's just so frustrating for Ciskhan. It's the tiny things, right? Killed 2 vills, Ciskhan reacts. Sorry to interrupt, but I find camels very frequently run into this exact situation. You make them against knights, and then they switch into anything else, and you can't raid with the camels underneath town centers, and you can't really utilize the camels. It becomes a very expensive liability that you never want to lose or use, which I just hate.
Well, at the very least, they're still going to be efficient at chasing down cav archers.
Yeah.
And any of the raids that are coming in. I mean, camels are still a very strong defensive unit.
Yep.
So you definitely do want to keep them alive. But Vinch, siege engineers coming in. His own castle is on the high ground. I have no idea if Ciskhan's castle is on the high ground.
It is. Okay, at least part of the castle hit the hill because he repositioned it. Vinchester is really out of stone because of that additional castle from Ciskhan. He can't mine his main stone, and Vietnamese don't have the university upgrades for their fortifications, which makes this really difficult. And Vinchester, getting desperate now, will go in with his fire lancers, hoping this is enough to take down the trebs. But if he loses his castle, he could lose all of his trebs as well. He needs to keep that castle up. He'll lose it. Oh, but he'll take all the trebuchets. My God, the fire lancers, though.
What a fun interactive unit right there. That is just so insane. 100 HP on an infantry unit.
100 HP on a unit that gets ranged upgrade for free. That doesn't cost food. Like with this, with the changes and the introduction of the Fire Lancer, there are obviously a lot of complaints. They will be nerfs in the near future, but for now they have not come in yet, and Vinchester will hold. I don't know if he can take down all the castles. This still could just be full hand cannons in theory for Ciskhan, but that was ridiculous clear for just having one unit underneath a castle.
Yeah, I mean, it's the timing there was absolutely perfect for Vinchester. The hand cannoneers were still in very low numbers, but I mean, even then, it's a lot of HP that the hand cannoneers need to chew through.
Yeah.
For Vinchester, and he's even starting to get crop rotation. This map can get very stalematey.
This is 2 straight games where Ciskhan has said, I need to kill him early imp. And he's tried again, and he's losing more castles again. This is the same situation as before. His archer ranges were all in the front too. So now with cav archers there, he can't necessarily even hop out, and hand cannons are too expensive to lose like this. Oh no, not again for Ciskhan. Vinchester, it also has the better late game civ, I would say, despite not having any relics. The Vietnamese are really one of the best late game civs there, and Persians will struggle.
And remember when I said, T90, that the issue for Persians is early imp.
Yeah.
I do think that it's a little incongruent, I guess, with his Civ. And even in the game state, he could have just played a bit more passive and really worked towards Savar plus hand cannoneer.
Yes, yeah.
Because if you get to that, then you're cooking. But I think that his desire to say, I need to go and end this game now because I don't trust my late game versus Vinch really is setting up that situation where that exact outcome is inevitable.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it, though, because you think about the tech trees. Vietnamese tech tree is superior. And Vinchester is the better player. So I truly understand. I've been in that situation where you feel like you have to do a lot. He does get some nice value here. He's snipe a trebuchet with the Hussars. But even with, like, 4 relics with Persians is not enough for you to have a better late game than Vietnamese. It's just not. So, and Savar against Fire Lancer is just awful. Fire Lancer is super cheap, and it kills Savar. So I could see the logic in it, but he is going to have to buckle down here for late game. Try and get the north locked down, which he never has been able to get back to, by the way. Play some defensive castles, and yeah, maybe get to Savar and hand cannons to have a chance.
It's one of those situations where Persians are going to struggle often to find a very cost-efficient army in Imperial Age, but if you can actually just get to 200 pop Savar plus hand cannoneer, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Just nothing kills that.
Vinch is being a little sloppy protecting his trebs here. That's another trebuchet down, which gives Ciskhan some time. I know Ciskhan's lost some pop here, but he did also rate a bunch of vills here this game. He's up 30 villagers with the 4 relics. So if he's got the worst comp, he does have the better eco to match it at least. And he's adding a lot of farms in the back as well. So if he holds this middle area, maybe he could start to raid Vinchester more. And there are the hand cannons with no skirms in the middle.
Skirm plus Fire Lancer army, it's just so good at just rushing up to 200 population.
Yeah.
Ciskhan is still quite far away from that, and because he had 2 forward castles, as you were mentioning earlier, T90, it's going to be rough here actually trying to defend, even though he is doing a good job of sniping the trebs.
Well, I mean, right there, that's the issue for Vinchester. He's trying to raid with the Fire Lancers and the skirms, and while that could do something, he loses his trebuchets. Behind this, he's building another castle on most of his gold. Ciskhan's also aware and has somewhat denied the gold to the north for Vinch. So that's good. But, like, look at Vinch take this gold on the left side. He's taking that. He's taking the stone in the north. Ciskhan needs to get his side locked down. Like, he needs army to just double check for the res there. He cannot forget about that.
I mean, especially Persians are a very gold-hungry civ. Vietnamese, not so much. Vietnamese don't even need all that much gold to be successful. Persians, their best units are all still very, very gold-intensive. And right now, it's going to be imp skirms against hand cannoneers. And as soon as the Hussars try and close the gap, then it's a disaster.
It's an unkillable comp. I know they're going to nerf the Lancer, but, like, even still, I think it's kind of an unkillable comp. The cost-effectiveness of an efficiency of Vinchester's army is just so good. And now we have Ciskhan without some of his golds. Only with the 4 relics as the positive. And then even paper money on the way for Vinchester. So he needs big moments soon. But he's never been maxed out on siege. So maybe waiting until he gets 4 bombard cannons, and that could make a difference.
He's on the 2 right now from 2 siege workshops, so he's at least looking in that direction. But something I noticed is that Ciskhan's ahead by 3,000 gold collected.
Yeah.
But his army is so much more expensive. I mean, yeah, Fire Lancers cost a decent amount of gold, but the fact that you can combine them so effectively with the skirmishers means that there is no sort of low-ish eco counter to this army. Ciskhan needs a super scary, powerful, expensive unit, like a Savar or like an Elephant to really stop this, and he simply doesn't have the resources for either.
I think he could use these moments, though, to double-check. He gets some good raids. Again, both players have had holes in their walls they maybe wouldn't want. So he gets the raid there. Ideally, after you raid there, you make a push to the middle where he'll lose a bombard cannon, or you go to the north. And in the north, he will find the castle from Vinchester. We'll see if Vinchester notices, but that's exactly what's happening here, Orlu. Vinchester being a little casual about his armies and about his defense. If that castle's denied, Ciskhan could run up there himself, take the stone and take the gold, and then have more resources to work with.
This is also where getting the Citadel's tech would also be really sick for Ciskhan, because Persian castles are actually some of the very toughest to push in the game.
Yeah.
And especially if you have high ground here, which you're basically guaranteed on this map, then what you can do is try and make it more of a mobility game as Ciskhan. If you're not able to get to Savars, then at the very least you can use your far superior cavalry to raid your opponent and just sort of camp the front of your base with your castles.
Ciskhan will snipe a bombard cannon. This is after Vinchester also sniped a bombard cannon. Vinchester just still, every time I look over here, whittling down the hand cannon numbers. It's down to 13 now. I want to see Ciskhan just sell all of his wood, buy some stone, and drop a castle in the north. Do not allow Vinchester to complete that and get that position. And maybe...
So many more hand cannons just went down.
Yeah, you got to keep your hand cannons just underneath the castle right now. It's the same issue as the camels, right? It's like they have a very niche use. They're not a multi-use unit. The Fire Lancers feels multi-use. You can use them against any unit, and they can still do some damage.
Honestly, Imp Skirms also feel multi-use. Just use them against everything. And they'll do at least okay. But look at the eco balance here from Ciskhan. He has 4 on wood and 79 on food. That's a lot of cavalry and gunpowder units also here that are going to be made. But you need to be gold efficient here. And it's going to be eventually a situation where you run out of gold, and then Vinchester just needs to add in, like, a few units here and there, and we'll probably win.
Vinchester shifting his villagers to the north to complete the castle. Ciskhan finds them. He sees them. He will drop his own castle. There are also big raids from Ciskhan in the back. There's also big raids from Ciskhan down here on the left side, where he will drop another castle on the gold, which Ciskhan cannot see. Ciskhan cannot have his castle be denied. He cannot have Vinchesters go up in the north because the south is really, really bad for him. I don't know if he's going to complete this castle. It's super close.
Oh, jeez. Unfortunately, guys, Persians don't have treadmill crane.
Oh, man. Dow Castle at 95%, and Vinchester's castle will go up uncontested in the south. Again, the army's just so cheap for Vinch. The civilization is just so adaptable here. Persians just struggle. That is a Dow Castle.
Build a navy.
And I don't know exactly what Ciskhan was saying there. But
yes, 34 RFZG percentage.
But then he says GG. Man, like I don't think anyone's biased here, right? But you just end up feeling a little bit bad for Ciskhan because it's been 2 games with the same theme where he has the lead. You can tell why he's here. You can tell why he's so good. But then Vinchester just reminds you why he is seen as like top 8 in the world right now. Vinchester honestly has struggled in the early game compared to Ciskhan, but when he gets to Imp, he makes it happen, and Ciskhan let it slip away a little bit again.
Yeah, it's really tricky. I think that the fact that Vinch is just a better late game player, and his Civ is so much easier.
Yep.
It's just so much easier to play Vietnamese and Imperial Age than it is to play Persians.
Yep. Persians
have their outs, but I feel like you really have to lean into those strengths.
Yeah. What I would like to see from Ciskhan, just to take it back here, it's I mean, obviously I would have liked to see him not have holes in his walls. I think that would have been nice. But okay, he drops that first castle, right? He drops the first castle. Let's even give him the second castle, because the second castle was good. But I'm looking at 41 minutes. Okay, from here, you have full map control. You have to expect your castles are going to probably go down, right? And you know it's Fire Lancer or whatnot. I think what you don't want to do is you don't want all your production to be in the position you could lose. That's what happened. All of his production's right there instead of on the other side of the hill. And so I think you use this time to basically go to the north. Find that villager from Vinchester. Take that. Drop a castle there. Take more stone. You take that stone. Then you can castle the south. And I know it's a better late game for Persians. But, like, there's so much golden stone denied for Vinchester at this state of the game. He does not have much beyond wood in the back of his base. I think the raids could add up. I think you can be more patient because you're less exposed in different areas. And you can still win the game. But it's easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. It's not looking good, but Ciskhan has drafted a very good Civ for closed maps. We have Bypass here. This, of course, is Vinchester's home map. I guarantee you Hera, Hart, and Yo are very big Ciskhan fans right now. They're like, come on, Ciskhan, please finish one of these games and beat Vinchester, because they're going to be racing Vinchester essentially for the top 3 spots there. But what are you thinking here as Burgundians? What do you like? What do you hate about the Burgundians on Bypass?
Well, what you can like about Burgundians is that they're such a streamlined civ to play. You just have a good eco. You can play defensive early on if Vinch decides to do something super aggressive with towers, and they're just very flexible in that you can play sort of a low eco style or a high eco style well, and that's going to be important because there's no way that Vinch is just going to be sitting back and booming here with Spanish. Burgundians do have good monks, but it's still not going to be like as 1TC friendly a civ as, say, like a Bohemians or Portuguese.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting one, right? Because I feel like many of the things that can happen on this map work against each other for the Burgundians. If you want to play this super smooth eco style, you typically want to do that against civs that are not going to go for unique units. And so then if you're up against Spanish, and Spanish can drop the castle and go for conquistadors, which is definitely one of the things at the top of the list, then you feel like you have to play against your economy style and against the double lumber camp, early eco upgrades, and stable openings. So I think what I would probably do if I'm Ciskhan is I would expect the castle from Spanish. I would maybe try and play towards skirmishers and monks and defending from those conquistadors. But that would be... It's not so easy. Like, playing skirmishers and boom is way more difficult than playing a couple scouts and boom. And then skirmishers can get flattened by the mangonels, then you got to make the monks, and then you got to get redemption. It's just, it could snowball out of control. So it's a really nice matchup for Vinchester, I feel.
It definitely has that opportunity, and I think that when it comes to the people who don't like closed maps, which I would say Ciskhan generally fits in that category, they tend to gravitate towards Burgundians, I feel. I don't know if you disagree with me on that. Because you can sort of play them the most like a generic civ, and you don't need to go for like the crazy clown type aggression with them. You can just sort of sit back and boom and play more towards late game. Burgundians are good enough at defending. I mean, you still have a fantastic economy, but they would much rather the game be passive than aggressive, and this game is going aggressive, guys.
Well, so the other thing, too, though, is if this was Arena, Ciskhan would have no potential to do any damage in Feudal Age. So sometimes the Arabia players, they actually want to attack through the middle, which you can do. They're right next to each other. You can't build on the extra sandy terrain with the little skeletons there, but you can build on the other side of the opponent's gate and go for towers. So maybe like Flemish Militia Tower Rush to pressure Vinch could be a play here. I know that would potentially put Vinchester on stone for defensive towers, but Vinchester's, I'm thinking, going to go to stone anyways. So also a fast feudal means you can get Bosaw earlier. So I don't hate it. He's got the mining camp right there. So I think the plan is to go for a tower rush here.
Well, yeah, obviously he does have the mining camp. This is going to be a fast uptime. I mean, you have double bit axe and you're still able to click up here on 18 population. That is quite good. That said, it feels a little odd to tower rush Spanish. Not only do they want to be on stone anyway, but they have the faster build speed, so you can react with your towers a lot more effectively. Now, Burgundians are fine keeping a game in Feudal Age because of that Feudal Age Bowsaw, but I don't know. It feels a little weird. Doesn't it feel a little weird?
Well, again, it does, but I think the whole matchup feels weird. So if all of life is weird, just send it, you know? That's my life advice for you. I think pretty sure Sun Tzu said that as well. It's just not a matchup that I foresee going well for you if you play the fast castle. So I feel like maybe the eco upgrades are going to be impossible to get here. The fact he's got 3 on stone now is actually completely unnecessary. You would only need 1 on stone if you wanted to plan on having a second tower follow-up when he needs it. So this doesn't seem like an experienced tower rush player at all.
Yeah.
So let's see.
This might just be okay, I don't like this map. I don't like my matchup against Vinchester on this map, so we're just going to go send it.
The other thing about a super fast tower rush, which is kind of weird and niche, is if you tower rush too fast, Vinch can snag Loom before he clicks up to Feudal. Vinch just clicked up to Feudal with no Loom. Vinch has a decision to make here. Will he cancel Feudal Age to get Loom, or will he feel like he's fine? There's the Feudal Age time. There's the tower. Vinch, no Loom.
I don't think he cancels Feudal Age. You have the faster builders, so you can just get those fortifications down a little bit faster. I mean...
Yeah,
I'm saying that, and he's not really reacting very much.
Classic Vinch. Like, something could get really bad, and Vinch is like, whatever. Nothing changes. He's going to wall.
All right, Vinch. He
There
is
we-
a braver player than I am, that's for sure, because I would immediately be sending like 3-4 vills over here just to full wall, but Vinch is chilling, man.
Yeah, of course, Ciskhan doesn't know where the resources are in here. I think Vinch is being way too chill, though. Like, what is happening? That's no loom, dude. That's no loom. More house walls. There's another tower coming up from Ciskhan on the stone. Ciskhan is showing great patience with the scout to not lose to the TC. This tower goes up and gets garrisoned. All the villagers are going to have to leave for Vinchester. They cannot be anywhere near this tower.
Yeah, you're still 15 seconds off from the Feudal Age. I kind of wish he had his scout over there just to harass the villagers so that as they were retreating. I mean,
I think
Vinch can still certainly win this game. It feels a lot uglier than it needed to, though.
Well, this is maybe the positives of the fast tower rush. You expect Vinchester to go Castle Age. You now have him off of stone. Here's the thing, though. That first tower is not connected to this line of towers. So if Vinchester wants to get rid of that, he easily can. And Vinchester... Oh, he wants to rush down both of them. And Ciskhan drops some quick walls here. There's only one arrow from the other tower. There's the garrison from Ciskhan. How many villagers survive here for Vinch? He's going to go for the scouts. He will lose one vill. The other vills are weak.
Jeez.
I mean, I think...
Oh, yeah, focus down the low vill there. Oh,
Yeah.
she actually survives. That was a little bit sloppy, but...
Oh, Ciskhan's
Yeah,
getting
this
hit
is-
by the town center. Vinchester's still hoping to get this tower
repair, at
down.
least force the vills to stand under there a little bit longer.
Yeah,
now, we
that's
also
fine.
didn't mention Vinchester's probably the single most experienced top player when it comes to tower rushes on close maps.
But
Like, I don't think anyone has more experience than him.
I mean, look at the eco situation for Ciskhan. He has Bowsaw, he has Horsecollar, he's added farms, he's lost 0 villagers. He is the Spanish player off of stone. This has been an amazing build from him. Vinchester does find the stone on the outside. He might still get to a castle, but you're now eco upgrades up, and your villagers up on Vinchester.
I mean, this is huge. I mean, Ciskhan, it's been a rough series for him, not because he's looked completely outclassed, but just because he's been that close.
Yeah.
And right now, he is, with everything going wrong, he's 0-5 right now in TTL Platinum. Is like, okay, we're just doing this, and he executed that perfectly. Like, that is so hard to micro, and it's not something you typically have a ton of experience with. And right now, this is about as good as you could ask for, and delaying that Castle Age from Vinchester is just so huge.
Yeah. This is where things get a little bit more dangerous, though, because now Vinchester's even more desperate to kill you because he knows he's far behind. It's less likely he'll play more passive, which is always an option for Vinch. Interesting, Ciskhan's made a barracks and wants some Flemish militia. That's a nice call, actually. You could run in there. Vinchester's not expecting any army, but yeah, Vinchester's going to get that castle. And I do wonder, will Vinchester drop it in the middle, which would clear up some towers, which would be the standard play? Or, since he has his scout, will he go around the outside and drop it on the outside
we
of
have that
Ciskhan's
answer.
walls? Oh, man.
These vills are going on an adventure, T90, and it's an adventure around the side of the map to castle at the back of his opponent's base, and Ciskhan is not getting to Castle Age this millennium.
And Ciskhan's walling the middle, too. This is just so intelligent from Vinch. This is the right play. It could be for a town center over here, but he's got all of his villagers coming here. A couple vills are going to go on hunt. I think if you're building this with only 6 vills, even with Spanish, you don't want it to be seen by the walls. So it does need to be positioned away from a gate, actually, because the gates have more vision.
Yep.
And the Flemish militia for Ciskhan, dude, he's going the wrong way. Imagine if he
man.
sent the Flemish militia in the south. That would be multiple kills.
I mean,
Oh,
that would probably just be GG right there,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, it
but
would. It would.
There is still the potential that this gold mine is going to get harassed, so it's not like it's not like bad, but it could have just been, almost GG right there.
Yeah.
That said, this is going to be tough to stop. Finch has the stone necessary for a castle, and you are going to need to defend against conquistadors in the Feudal Age, and that is never fun.
Did Ciskhan notice the vills were on the gold there? I think he did, and he's waiting for the 2 Flemish. They're going to run in together. Vinchester is walking the perfect distance around the gate. Okay, so there's the gate showing it. If Ciskhan were to notice this, he needs to run all of his vills, bring Flemish, tower that, and stop that castle. Vinchester's looking, and Ciskhan's looking at the villagers on gold. And there's the castle. Will Ciskhan be able to stop it?
Yeah, and I think that, unfortunately for Ciskhan, we can reasonably guess his vision was on the Flemish militia at that time instead of on the gate. Like, he is just trying to micro make sure he doesn't get quick walled by Vinch, and that is almost certainly what happened there, I think. Now, you can go for defensive towers here at home, and that's going to require a siege workshop and mangonel follow-up from Vinchester, and it will buy you time. But these defenses, they need to come in, and they need to come in fast.
Yeah, and he forgot a second building here, so he can't click up. But I think Stonewall towards the TC on both sides. You still have your wood line. You still have your gold. You can be pushed off of stone, but that's okay. The tower is coming up. Obviously, it's panic time for Ciskhan, but can he damage control? We know he can do damage. I find he is not as good as Vinchester when it comes to the damage control. Both in holes in walls, just lack of towers if necessary. The tower is going up here.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, the Conquistador could sit right underneath that tower to prevent the stone from being mined. But it will run through.
Just walk out there. It's tricky. Also, something to keep in mind is that Ciskhan could literally just go take Vinchester's main stone. It's protected by towers.
Yeah,
could
true.
Do that. So there is an option there, even if that main stone gets denied.
Well, I think you don't really necessarily even need the stone right now either. I think you need a little bit of stone for a tower, but you need skirmishers, and you cannot allow the Conquistadors to get back there. And the quick walls from Ciskhan. Can he kill the conks? He's so close to killing the conks. The conk is through, though. Maybe you can kill him with the Vils. It's only 13 HP.
I mean, that 13 HP might as well be infinity, though, because of all the armor and range of the Conquistador.
Again, the eco-efficiency for Vinchester. Ooh, it's not so good, actually. The Flemish have gone hard here. They found more villagers. So,
oh, wow.
Nice picks. And he does have an archer range to make some skirms. Ciskhan still needs to balance out his eco a little bit. We'll probably need to use the market for that. It's still a lot of work, but nice finds with the Flemish militia.
Well, I mean, it's the sort of thing that he needs to stay alive in this game. Now, the resources look very good for Ciskhan, but 1,000 of that is wood. And as I will always say until the end of time, having a huge lead in wood collected isn't usually all that important here in the early to mid game. And right now, those Conquistadors are going to be tough to stop as soon as they get some siege reinforcements, and that's coming in very soon.
It's one of the strongest units the game has ever seen. And despite dozens of civs being introduced, remains that way. This unit, it dominated the whole conversation, right? It's what we talked about.
Like the Flemish militia?
In the dark. No. No, the Flemish militia are great. But, like, you know, it's what we talked about, the Conquistadors being the conversation. And Ciskhan's got the villager lead, but it's not even that significant. He's lost so many, and Vinch has done such a stellar job balancing his economy. Look at his farms. Vinch feels at home here.
Yeah, I mean, he is so clearly experienced with all of this. Now, we do have Bodkin in for the skirmishers. Elite skirmisher is probably not too far away. There's a monk coming in too. But then how are you going to deal with these mangonels, which is probably why you probably just wanted a more monk-centric defense in the first place here.
Imagine if he sent one Flemish militia to the north and one to the south. He would have found the villagers coming forward for a castle, could have adapted and added more Flemish, and this castle might have never happened here. It's amazing how one tiny little detail can change a game. A nice hold from Ciskhan so far.
It is perfectly reasonable to ask that of Ciskhan, right? Like, you know that you're right in front of Vinch's face. You know he wants to go fast castle conquistadors. What are the ways that Vinchester could still make this castle drop work after he has a bad early game? That's, of course, to walk around the villagers and castle drop behind you. So I think it's actually, you know, Ciskhan should have done that.
But when you have such a like, we've been casting AoE for way longer than Ciskhan's been playing, right? And Ciskhan doesn't have any tournament results against Vinch. You know, we're all kind of a product of our experiences, right? And I think for Ciskhan now, the next time he encounters this situation, it's going to click for him. But experience has made a big difference, and Vinchester looks pretty confident right now. He goes in with the Conquistadors. He'll lose some, but he's still sinking tons of damage into the town center, and he still has the mangonels there for a very low skirm count for Ciskhan. Ciskhan barely has food. The skirms are going to go down. Vinchester does lose the mangonel, but does that even matter? The conks are right on the wood line.
Yeah, they're going to need to run for their lives. You're now -2 in the villagers killed here as Ciskhan. Yeah, you've got eco upgrades, but this is still super ugly from him. He does not have another monk on the way, and this is just the trouble, right? You're spending all of your APM trying to micro your heart out, and that is just not really going to be working out for you too well at this point for Ciskhan, as his population is dwindling fast.
And you just don't have space, right? Like, you don't have space to think. If this castle was anywhere else, if the castle was at home for Vinch, there would be space and time and resources available for Ciskhan.
Oh, that's greedy. Oh, that's not respecting your opponent right there, T90. That is not respecting him at all. Saying he's not going to get the attack round, he's not going to get the garrison.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't like that at all from Vinchester.
I mean, I've seen it all series from Vinch. Like, not having some walls. Like, Vinch is... It's either been overconfidence or sloppiness all series from Vinch. He's been able to get the job done anyways. But Ciskhan's micro, this game might not be over here. Ciskhan, he's holding on, and he also has a score lead, which is significant, at least for his confidence. My goodness. Oh, man. Okay, I jinxed him there. He splits directly into a Mangonel.
That's on you, man. I'm sorry. Oh, no.
I wonder what Ciskhan's feeling like, though. Like, how do you expand your economy here when you're eventually going to run out of space and resources? Oh, my goodness. Again, Ciskhan gets a conversion, and he gets a kill with the skirmishers.
I mean, that is exactly... Oh, Vince saying, okay, man.
Oh, I looked away. Oh, big shot, and now Vinchester also takes down the skirms as well. Does Vinch see the villagers fleeing right now? He does not. Vills are fleeing to the north, which feels critical.
I think the important thing, though, is that Vinch just got the Mangonel kill, because now what are you supposed to do? You have no Mangonel on the way.
Yep.
You're going to be back to running to your town center, and you're just going to be running out of resources and army very shortly.
Ciskhan, bro, don't TC there. TC a bit further on. There's like all that hunt, all the berries, the stone and gold. That's also so close to where Vinch can find you. I do not like that town center spot.
And what's the one resource you can actually take very safely right now is
wood.
wood. Like,
maybe
that's the only thing you can do safely. This TC gives you no other resources that are safe.
I mean, maybe he can chop out faster that way, and then the villagers can freely escape. Maybe there's some weird logic there. I think
maybe.
I think redemption is needed now for Ciskhan. No longer can you rely on your own siege because the conch numbers are back up. At least hope for the monks to get conversions there.
Do you mean redemption technologically or literally?
Both.
Because I think he needs both.
Both. And I mean, there's the start. No tech yet, but he's weak in the conchs. 2 town centers for Vinchester. Do wonder if Vinchester will start to look around a little bit and see if Ciskhan has ever moved elsewhere. Because Ciskhan will eventually run out of gold. He's got to be thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, and that's why one of the reasons why we wanted the TC on the outside in the first place. I mean, with the level of Mangonel control that Ciskhan has shown, like, it feels like he always has a chance so long as he has a Mangonel, but Vinch might suspect something right now, T90.
Yeah, that villager just walked towards the main base. Vinchester decides, let's get double bit axe. We haven't had that all game, but... and now, yeah, he sees it. He loses the Mangonel again. Ciskhan's micro, again, is exceptional. But Vinchester sees the farms, even. It's a TC right below a hill when your opponent's siege pushing you. I really hate that town center for Ciskhan.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Nice job sniping there on the Mangonel of Ciskhan, though, by Vinchester. Note that he does not have any Conquistador upgrades, so no bloodlines, no armor upgrades to help against the skirmishers. We have another monastery coming in here from Ciskhan. And yet, Vinchester himself, his own eco is so much safer. He's ahead by 6 fills, which is not something that you want to see as the guy getting conch pushed.
I think the big reason Vinch's score was so low was because he didn't have eco upgrades. And now that that's starting to get closer, the score is as well. Vill count's never been there. Micro from Ciskhan is truly insane. But again, against Conquistadors, you're just going to lose your siege right away. This is why I would have said Redemption Monks with skirms. But gold is kind of hard to come by for him right now because he's running out of it in his base. Oh, man, look at the micro from Ciskhan. He has to split against 2 Mangonels. He doesn't lose any HP even. It's not even losing units. He doesn't lose any HP there. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's very impressive. And I will say that even if Ciskhan gets relegated after the season of TTL, the level of execution that he's shown, I think it's easier if you're a player that has good mechanics to gain that experience and gain that better decision making, which will just naturally occur as you play more AoE 2, rather than if you're somebody who naturally has very good decision making but just isn't quite there mechanically. And
Agreed.
That's, I think, why we see Lewis really making that jump this year as well.
Yep. I think, I mean, Ciskhan is definitely part of what I call the next generation of AoE. There's no doubt about it. But people have been calling Group B the Group of Death because of all the talent in there, and Vinchester's just been around for so long. Considering the first 2 games, feels kind of inevitable that Vinchester's going to win. He still is the villager lead. He still has a castle at his opponent's base. He snipes 2 monks with the conquistadors. He will just wreck the skirms who have had no armor upgrades. Not that that would even matter that much against the conks. Another mangonel will go down too. So there that goes. And then the TC is still being pushed with siege on the hill and could go down soon for Ciskhan.
Yeah, it's just a little too inefficient here from Ciskhan. The Res Destroyed are actually quite similar. It's just that the Vinchester is making such better units. Conquistadores, Mangonels. It's been a combo since 2000, and it's just as strong now as it was back then, even after some nerfs to Conks.
Yep. And they've even buffed Conks and Imp, but we haven't really even seen many games to complain about it because with Conks, it feels like that Imp doesn't even matter. It's all about before the Imperial Age, right?
I mean, to be fair, going from 18 to 19 attack doesn't really feel all that significant.
Yeah.
I mean, percentage-wise, it's a tiny increase.
It's significant to people who have died to conquistadors and got to see that the unit was buffed. You know, the emotional damage, the emotional damage is there for some. Again, the Flemish militia have been the MVPs. They'll find more pickoffs there. He hasn't forgotten about that. He needs to prevent this town center from going down. 75 versus 76 population. There is still a town center over on gold and stone there for Ciskhan. So he has been able to expand there, which Vinch was never able to do. He is still denying Vinchester's main stone. And just when we think it's inevitable, Ciskhan keeps fighting here.
I mean, that shows some real mental toughness, which is also something that you can't really teach somebody, right? If they don't have that sort of grit within them, like it's tough to sort of get that over time. Ciskhan clearly has that, right? He is fighting to the last, even after 2 heartbreaking losses, and it's really impressive to see, even if he does end up getting swept, which is still in doubt.
Yeah, he just lost some skirms, but Vinchester also lost 2 conks underneath the town center. I'm worried about the gold situation for Ciskhan. This just got really bad. The gold he wanted to take was underneath the TC, and Vinchester is bringing Vils. This could be the killer blow. Vinch knows he's there. The only direction that Ciskhan can realistically run is directly where this castle is going to go up, and there's no army there to stop it.
And the Anish villager train coming on in, and that castle is just not possible to be denied. That TC is getting very low in HP, and this is going to be so tough now for Ciskhan to do anything at this point.
Yep. He's played well at a deficit the entire game, Ciskhan. But the key here was to prevent this castle from being close enough to put on this much pressure. And it's just as simple as patrolling 2 Flemish militia to the north instead of 1 to the north and 1 to the south. If he has 1 in the south, he will find those Vils, kill 1 or 2 of them. Vinch would never go for the forward castle because it was always about the surprise. And then the castle's further back, and then Ciskhan has more time, and then Ciskhan can make easier decisions. It is literally down to that to decide between the $30 per win and all the wins that are going to be needed for Ciskhan to stay alive. But Vinch, he played it well. He created some magic. Some people wouldn't have gone for that castle there, right? They would have gone for the defensive castle to clean up the towers. And he made the right decision in the end.
I mean, that's playing to win right there. You know, you're in a bad spot. I mean, the early game execution was so good for Ciskhan.
Yeah.
But Vinchester's like, you know what? A castle drop forward and conquistadors will just win you the game sometimes. That's just how it works. And that is exactly what it's doing. There is a defensive castle coming in from Ciskhan. The issue, though, for him, though, is that he just doesn't have any gold.
You know what?
You're not likely to win this game without gold.
You know the best play here for Ciskhan? That castle doesn't save you the game. Castle on Vinch's face saves you the game. Run through the middle, drop the castle right there, and hope that kills a bunch of his eco and takes his stone. And who knows? Maybe you can take his gold. That would have been the play. But he's got a lot of work to do and obviously feels like he'll just continually get pushed on the other side, and the skirmishers get flattened again. So do the conks, but Vinch can make more. Oh, man,
And
so brutal.
All of this, Vinchester's eco has been so much more efficient. And again, it looks like the res collected are really good for Ciskhan. It's all wood. And that just doesn't give you anything useful at this point. Vinch has more food and gold collected, and those are the resources that actually matter here.
And actually, one of the relics for Ciskhan will be ejected out of the monastery as well. Love to see the fight.
Injury.
We've had players who have shown very little fight. Like in Silver League, we've had 30-second GGs, which is frustrating for me to see because you want people to take the opportunities that are presented to them. And this is Plat League. He's staring down the barrel of 06. Probably will be 0-6, but Ciskhan, I hope, is earning a lot of respect, both for his skills, but also just his mentality to fight despite being surrounded by castles and conquistadors.
Yeah,
So,
but this isn't like the game is totally over and I'm just dragging things out. Like, he is still actively trying.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
trying to find ways to make something happen. I mean, we can see that it's just not going to be there. And of course, Ciskhan, in his heart of hearts, I'm sure knows that. But it's still very impressive to see, and I think it's a great indicator of his long-term growth.
yeah, agreed. Could be a sign of things to come. But I think Vinchester's about to drop the get out of my game Castle Ornlu. Here it comes. Castle on the TC. The other TC's getting eaten as well. The other TC's going to go down. The score says it's maybe within reach. He's going for the Custilier to snipe the Mangonels, but even there, the attack rounds were good for Vinchester. That castle for Vinchester is likely going up.
Yeah, the Custilier just not going to be quite good enough there against the Conquistadors. That castle is happening. I'm like pretty sure.
Oh!
I'm like pretty sure.
How does he keep surviving? Okay, well, he's pretty sure as well. He's going to cancel it. He's going where he can. He's going to leave his base. He's going to castle the north now. I still really think maybe it's too late now because you know there's siege, but I think he completely forgot about Vinch's base. Like it is easier for him to get to Vinchester's base to get gold than it is for him to go anywhere else to get gold. So this whole no gold situation, not going to get any better here. But he keeps fighting, Ornlu. And somehow the pop, every time I look at it, is still very close.
Something I want to give Vinchester a lot of credit for is he added the exact right amount of eco.
Yeah.
It's a really tough balance when you're going for something as aggressive as this. And it's something that I always thought that Vivi was one of the best people at. Is like, you're doing something aggressive, but then you add the exact right amount of eco behind it to both keep up the pressure and still develop that economy for a long-term win that you really need in most games of Age of Empires.
Yeah, typically you have, with Conquistador players at any other rank, they just make no eco, right? And then their attack gets stalled out by a good player like Ciskhan, and then they're dead. Or they add economy way too early, and then they don't have enough for the Conquistadors. It really was the perfect amount of pressure. But I also wonder how much of that was the position. I think the position allows you, when you can make the unit and be right next to your opponent's main TC, it opens up the siege push. It opens up so much. And Vinchester, yeah, he got the position, of course. Still has all the gold and stone locked down. Ciskhan's villagers are even going to wander for berries into the castle fire in the north now, which is, of course, a mistake, but that's just a sign of how bad it is. He is going to try and get imp by just selling, which, again, respect to Ciskhan.
Oh, my goodness,
He's still trying. He's going imp. Let's go. Can it happen?
What was that Red Bull stat? Fighting Spirit or something like that?
Yeah.
Give him 11 stars or whatever, man.
I mean, how much is it to get some gold income from your farms here? Worth it.
How much is Burgundian Vineyards?
Yeah, worth it. Let's get Burgundian Vineyards.
400, 300.
Yeah, save the res and click Burgundian Vineyards because you're not getting gold any other way. He did also reclaim his second relic.
Oh my god, he's adding another TC.
Let's go, dude.
He's getting his eco upgrades this bad.
Let's go, dude. I love it. This is so much better than a player who maybe has a 5% chance and will tap out. I like this energy. I respect this. You don't know. It could be fighting spirit. It could just be absolute tilt as well. Like, you don't know. Like,
yeah, that's also true.
He could just be so frustrated because of how close he was to winning the first two games and how he could have maybe stopped this castle if he went the other way. I mean,
okay.
he'll have
He
skirms.
secured a little bit of gold. That's going to be enough for a few trebs and bracer.
Where did he even get the
That's
gold?
enough.
I don't even know.
It's to the west of his westernmost TC.
To the west of his westernmost TC. I went east. West. Oh, that gold.
No, your other west.
Yeah, the other west. The anti-east. Okay, so, all right, he's got golds. He's got 500 golds. He'll get bracer. He could get that. He can make a treb. That's a lot of conks, though. Holy crap.
That's a lot of cogs.
That's, I mean, out of nowhere, too. I think they were just being saved up in the castles. All you can do is really hit and run from them. Vinch is on the way to Imp. I think Vinch is completely fine here, but let's see. Vinchester would have to make the proper transitions, and Vinchester might need to plan for life without a couple of his castles.
Like I said, bracer and a couple trebs. If you can snipe the castles.
Yeah.
And that's a huge if.
Well, this
Then
castle opens up your gold income there, and this
Yeah.
castle would also protect your trebs. So that might mean that Vinchester loses that one. Vinch is planning on it, though, and is building another castle behind.
That castle is in. Bracer's also about to be in. Vinch doing the dance with the conquistadors. They are fully upgraded as far as castle age goes.
Yeah.
So they're at least going to be doing as best as they can versus the skirmishers. We have another treb on the way. I mean, guys, we're talking still like a 3 to 4% chance for Ciskhan to win this game, and yet he is doing all of the correct things to get that
Everything.
3 to 4%
Yep.
chance.
Yep, get to the golds. He takes all the golds. Now he's goldless again, except for the relics. He'll need to leave. Once he gets the trebs here, he could go for the gold underneath the castle, though, and maybe make more trebs. He's losing all the vills, though. Oh, God.
Oh, the peasantry. It's always the peasantry.
I mean, he's lost 73 vills this game, so it's amazing. He's lost 73 vills, and he's been completely surrounded by castles for 20 minutes. There are people
Still gonna
watching.
At least open up a little bit on the east. Herbal medicine coming in, man. And yeah, now I just switched to paladins.
There are people watching right now who will be mildly inconvenienced by a Russian feudal age, and they'll tap out and say, nope, I don't want to play anymore. No, thank you. And they'll go move on to doing games against the AI or something. Ciskhan's like thousands of people watching, knows how significant these are, has been surrounded by castles on both sides by the Spanish, and is still in this game. Crazy. But
it is absolutely crazy. I think what's important, though, for Vinch is that, one, he's actually already mined out most of the gold over here to the east anyway.
yeah.
He's getting the trebs. He has that secondary castle at the back, so he still really isn't giving up any important map control.
Yeah, and I think Ciskhan senses this. The way this game should flow is that it will now be Paladin. So it's great game sense to know what Vinch is going to do, but can you actually stop it? It feels extremely unlikely that you're going to be able to take the castles down on the left side. Feels extremely unlikely you can push much further in the other areas. He's also waiting until he gets 4 trebs. So he's going to max out, or it's not really maxing out on trebs, but I feel like 4 is the perfect number. So he'll wait for that. But there's a lot of conks inside that castle, which you'll find out by all the arrows from it. And there will
As
be
the conquistadors somehow
Paladin
aren't able to
soon.
shoot from the castle, but they can pick up bows and do extremely well with them.
yeah, true, dude. True. Nobody talks about that. They sit their guns down when inside the castle. Just-
Only Persians figured out how to use guns with their castle, and even then, their archers become gunners.
Oh, man. Yeah, here we go. He's not trickle-trebbing. 4 trebs.
Nope.
Vinchester will react, and Vinchester will react too late because the 4 trebs is the perfect number. But supremacy's coming in for Vinch. Vinch still has castles everywhere, and Vinch is just waiting for Paladin. He might even go with some style here and bring some villagers into the rush. I think it's a good play.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
At the very least, they would absorb some of the pikeman pokes,
Yep,
and
yep.
that would be even better for your paladins. But guys, this is going to be a little bit sad.
Yeah, when you look over here and see the Paladins storming you when you haven't even seen a Cavalier, that's not so good. And there is the full focus fight on the left for Ciskhan, which he may or may not win, but he's definitely not going to have the right side. The Paladins are here. Vinchester will drop another castle. Vinchester himself has 3 trebs. And with this, Vinchester will earn himself 3 more wins, which feel important because he did only end up having 1 after the first rounds. He got 1 win against Hart. Now he's up to 4 wins out of 6. Good performance from Vinchester. I do feel for Ciskhan. The 3-0 scoreline does not tell the full story of this series.
Not at all. This is one of the closer 3-0s I've seen in quite a while, where every single game, Ciskhan put himself in a good position, but it was both Vinchester's resilience and his experience in decision-making that just are going to get him the win. But, I mean, Ciskhan absolutely should have earned himself some fans here.
Do you think that he added the Flemish militia expecting there to be forward vills, or do you think he added the Flemish militia to just find some damage? Because my guess is the latter, and if he now has that experience, this happens again, I think he never lets that castle go up on the front.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was just looking to kill some villagers that were gathering mineral resources outside of Vinch's walls, which was the case, by the way. He still actually did get a couple villager kills.
Yep.
But it just wasn't as important as actually just getting that castle not dropped on his face. And it's going to be a good learning experience from him.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to the point of the game, like 16 minutes when the Flemish militia are in the middle, right? If he has that one there, and then he has the one right behind it over on the other side, he finds that. And if that's patrolled, he starts to kill the vills. Vinchester will fight back with his vills. He might not lose one, who knows? But then Ciskhan can add more, bring a couple of his own vills, and stop that castle from going forward. Vinchester then probably castles more towards the side, which means that Ciskhan can expand to all of his resources and have a lot more space and time. And I think with how good Ciskhan played, that space and time might have changed the game. And he probably ends up having the better eco. And probably can expand more freely and make better decisions, and then maybe gets the win. But that's just how it goes in high-level AoE. Every game came down to some tiny decisions that Vinchester was able to do better than Ciskhan was, Orlu.